When you work with young children, and I am referencing preschoolers, kindergartners, even children in primary school grades, you are working with children who are still learning to regulate their emotions. How you react to those big emotions, such as anger, sadness, or even frustration, can impact a child's social emotional learning. Do you react with frustration? Do you react with a lack of empathy? Or do you use those frustrating moments, those little moments that makes teachers pull out their hair, as the most important lessons of the day? How we react to a child's frustration plays a big impact on their social emotional growth and development. Which leaves the big question: how do we teach emotional regulation? How do we teach children to deal with the feelings that they haven't learned to deal with? Well, we start with emotional competence. Emotional competence is how well a person regulates their feelings and how well they can empathize and get along with others. One of the emotions that we see a lot in young children is anger, and anger can present itself in many different ways. One of the most important things to realize is the background of the anger. Why is this child reacting this way? Have they gone through a trauma? Were they yelled at home? Is it displaced aggression? There's many things that can signal anger, and it's an okay feeling for children to have. So the first thing that we look at when we look at emotional competence is perceiving emotions. That means that we need to realize what we're feeling and be able to define it. One of the techniques in my classroom that we use is conscious discipline. And an example of that would be like when a child is feeling angry, we say, your hands look like this, your face looks like this, you seem mad. And then we can help a child understand what it feels like and looks like to be mad. When you get to know your children in the background of the homes that they grew up in, you begin to understand why they may be displaying behaviors that are not characteristic or over the top. Are they having a lot of temper tantrums? Are they hurting themselves? These behaviors can be signals of distressors in their life, and knowing the background behind the children that we teach helps us know how to deal with their emotion. So even if a child is expressing their emotions in a way that's not healthy, the important step for educators is to teach them how to regulate their emotions, how to deal with the emotions and express it in a more healthy way. Finally, we come to regulating emotions. Now, often that can be the most difficult thing to teach to a child because, yes, we can perceive emotions and identify them and understand what it looks like and what it means to be angry. We can understand that we need to express emotions and try to teach healthy ways to do that. And when regulating your emotions, it's really taking everything and putting it all together. It's realizing what your emotion is and controlling them before they outburst. So one of the ways that we can help children is by giving them strategies to deal with emotions and by helping them understand the difference between emotions. Is it anger or is it frustration? There's different strategies to deal with each emotion. As an educator of young children, often we work with toddlers, preschool age, pre-K, even kindergarten age. When teaching young children, one of the ways I teach regulating of emotions is through the use of songs. And if you know anything about Daniel Tiger or Miss Rogers, you'll probably understand some of these songs because I follow everything that they teach. It is one of the best resources a parent or an educator can use to help regulate emotions. One of the ways that I help children learn to express their emotions in a more healthy way is by teaching them big words. Big emotions, use big words. So when we're feeling really angry, we can give them positive words that can help control their environment. So let's say a child took a toy that they wanted and that made them feel angry, so they punched them or acted out in a way that's not appropriate for school or in a social setting. So we teach them, put your hand up, we say no. Big emotions, big words, use it loud, be confident, say no, I don't like that. I'm going to give you some of the examples of songs that we use in our classroom to deal with regulating emotions. And I know I've been touching on anger a lot because that's one of the most common issues that teachers have to deal with on a regular day-to-day basis that sometimes we don't understand how to deal with. But say we're feeling frustrated. One of the songs we'll teach when a child is feeling frustrated is take a step back and ask for help. Take a step back and ask for help. In conclusion, I just want to point out that as a preschool teacher working with 3 to 5-year-olds, often social emotional development isn't held as high as a regard as academic learning. And while that plays an important part in school and education, I feel like social emotional development and learning to deal with the people around us and to deal with the emotions that we feel ourselves, that's one of the most important lessons that we can teach children in our care. If a child is feeling sad, we might say, it's okay to feel sad sometimes. Little by little, you'll feel better again. And then I also think it's really important to share. There's a free app on most iPhones or Androids that we share with our parents that have all of these songs and strategies to deal with emotions and to teach regulation of emotions. So I think it's very important to take the information that you have and to pass it on to the parents so they can practice these skills at home. Giving a child the ability to control their own environment by giving them power to deal with their problems helps them develop self-control and confidence. It also helps them regulate their own emotions by knowing that there are things that they can do and say that will prevent these negative things to happen to them. And also, they can teach their peers the same thing. If they perceive a child having the same emotion that they did, they can relate back. I was mad, this is what I did. And hopefully they can learn to teach the other children in the class these same strategies.